Marissa just kind of came fully formed, which it never doesn't really happen like that for me often, but I just knew immediately who she was. So in the opening chapter of the book, it's pretty much exactly the same in the opening scenes on the TV. She rings the doorbell and a stranger answers the door. And I knew straight away that Marissa was someone who was very successful, very confident, wealthy, but also a good person. So she's not the stereotype of she's rich, therefore she's evil. So she is a good person. But she can be kind of blinkered in how she sees the world because she's quite privileged. So she doesn't really understand that everybody doesn't have the same life as her. But she is a good person. And she comes to know Jenny through the book. So they don't know each other very well at all before the whole story starts. But what I wanted to do, and what I think Megan, the screenwriter, showed really well in the TV adaptation as well, is to have Marissa and Jenny working together, because I suppose so often we see it on screen and in books that two people are thrown together and they have to bicker and fight and not get on at all, and then finally they bond at the end. And sometimes, it's great, you get that payoff, it's amazing to see them come together at the end of the show, but sometimes you just kind of want people to get on. You just want people to be friends. And I do think, in my own personal experience, women are amazing at supporting women generally. Nothing is universal, but I find in my life anyway, women are great at boosting each other up, holding each other's hands, helping each other along, cheerleading. And I wanted to show that with Marissa and Jenny, that they could be in this really difficult situation, but actually Jenny really looks after Marissa, and Marissa is very, everyone else is blaming Jenny, but Marissa doesn't blame Jenny for what happened. So that was something that was important to me writing the book. And I love that Megan really leaned into that when she wrote the screenplay as well. I always know the outline before I start writing. With this one, the play date was something that happened in real life. So a lot of my books are sparked by something that happened in real life. I had gone to collect my daughter from a play date. The house was empty. I had a heart attack. It was just that the people had moved house. So everything was fine. But I thought, oh, that could be a good idea for a book. And I was sitting at an appointment my son had one day where I needed to be in the room, but I didn't have to do anything. So I had a notebook and pen with me, and I was like, right, I'm going to sketch out this. I have an hour. I'm going to sketch out this play date idea. And I was like, okay, so where is the child? Let's think about that. Scribble down some notes. Why is the child where the child is? Avoiding spoilers here in case people haven't seen it. And wrote it all down. I found the notebook recently actually to see, is it a correct memory? And it is. So it's all the twist, the ending, all of it is just there from that 1 hour of an appointment that my son was at. And I guess I was so pressed for time when my kids were small, I had to just plot really quickly. So then once I know the premise and the twist and the ending, I can go and start writing. And I usually plot out chapters with pen and paper beforehand, because I find if I've got chapter 12 and a blank Word doc in front of me, I could write any crazy thing that doesn't actually work and have to be deleted. Whereas if I just pick up a notebook, so I have all these notebooks, if I just pick up one of those and go, okay, chapter 12, and jot down some kind of scribbledy, brainstormy notes, and then maybe it'll be the third or fourth note down, I'll be like, okay, yes, that's what should happen in chapter 12. And so it just keeps me on the right path if I take that little notebook step every time instead of going straight to typing, because sometimes you can end up just typing to reach the word count to achieve what you have to achieve that morning, and it might not work for the book. And my fear is that it'll steer the book off in the wrong direction entirely. So that's why I like to do that bit of plotting in advance. Oh, Milo, Duke, who played him, was absolutely incredible. He's so smart and sparkly and magical, that child. He's fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, I loved the show. I loved the casting decisions that they made. I would say the tone of the book probably is a little more jokey at times, a little more humor in the book. The show is more, I think, apart from the Sarah Larson scenes where Sarah Larson, the kind of nosy school mom, is being passive aggressive, which are great scenes. It's quite serious in tone. There's a missing child, and we are going to find that missing child. Um, the cast, though, I mean, I loved every single one of them. I loved how they portrayed the characters. I particularly loved the Jenny and Richie dynamic. I thought that was so well done. Richie's a terrible person. He's definitely worse in the TV show than he was in the book. And yeah, they were like Sarah was absolutely incredible and Dakota as well. They were just brilliant as the two leads. Building out the cast and all of those additional characters is really fun because for me, the main character does always need to be someone who's reasonably, normal person that you meet every day and reasonably likable. So not too extreme. So then you can have fun with the neighbor, the mother-in-law, the school teacher, whatever it is, the teenage daughter. Those are the people that you can make funny or mean, or you can have the crabby, mean elderly neighbor who turns out to be the savior of everything. Not to give anything away, I won't say which book that is, but those are the ones that you can really, really have fun with, much more so than with the main character. And I know from talking to other authors, I'm not the only one who feels like that. So yeah, like even as I mentioned, Sarah Larson in the TV show there, she was Sarah Rayburn in the book, and she was one of the most fun characters to write because she's just so passive aggressive. And we probably all know somebody like that. Where I would struggle to see them clearly, I can absolutely hear them. So I can hear their mannerisms, their way of talking, their accents, all of that. And that's really clear to me, much more so than the visual, which I'm not sure why that is. But yes, I do hear them clearly.